All right, what is up, guys? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip. Today, I was going to teach you guys or get you to understand about trip guard. Trip guard is a very useful tool. I think you should use it a lot of times when you're playing characters that are like based, or their playstyle is based upon like spacing or zoning, or just creating space in general, right? So the way you can understand if a character is like all about space or like all about zoning in a sense is by a few things actually. So like a lot of their special moves, it pertains to like space, right? So, and we can see that right by testing the character out. So when Mortal Kombat 1 comes out, or another game that you like comes out, and you want to understand a character, this is a few ways you can. So looking at Raiden's move, this is slow, but it's really good for spacing. You don't necessarily want to zone with it. You just want to keep your opponent at bay, or keep him at a distance where he has to think, rather than just come in full screen at you and not really thinking. It is slow, so it will catch a lot of opponents off guard, especially like the following hit. The follow-up hit can be delayed, or it can just be right away with it, so you can go and then delay it or so, right? So it's really good for spacing. Plus, if you pay attention to like how the move interacts with like on block or so, you can see a complete difference, right? So we know this is +1 on block. A lot of people didn't know that when I was playing this game, when I played Raiden. Excuse me. A lot of people didn't know that this right here was +1. So you would essentially blow somebody up for trying to take their turn back, or try to advance you, right? So it would look something like this, right? Where your opponent will do something, and you can follow up with something like that, right? So hold on. And they'll get blown up for it. Because a lot of times people would they're not necessarily going to take their turn back as soon as they can. So by the time they do react, you're most likely blowing them up, especially if they're doing something that's like, okay, oh, that's not plus, or like, I'm gonna try to take my turn back, try to down 3 and get blown up for it. Or it's really good too. This is a good example too, for understanding how plus range work. So sometimes like it depends on like how your opponent's playing. So if they take if they use the wrong button to take their turn back, you can essentially take your turn back. But a lot of times when it comes to zoning with a character or spacing with a character, you can just use those plus change just to whiff punish your opponent, right? And then punish them for it. But I'm saying all this to say that you can play Raiden at a way where you can trip guard your opponent a lot of times. Leaves your opponent wanting to jump at you. So like a lot of times when you do, that's if he jumps, right? So like, and I want to jump in. Let me do it right. I don't want to jump in. I can get blown up for it. It's kind of hard to do everything by yourself, but essentially what you're doing is you're just spacing your opponent out and then making them jump or whiff punishing them, and creating mind games. So again, I'm going to show you what trip guarding looks like. I know I'm all over the place. Again, I get excited talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So I get kind of ADHD. So sorry. I'm going to show you what whiff punishing looks like. Hold on. And how you can use it, right? All right, so he jumps at me, right? I can whiff punish that, which is called a counter. But you can tell that he can't block. Hold on. He can't block after that because I'm going to set him to block, right? So I'm going to jump forward, and then block right away. I'm holding block. So you'll see him, if I do it wrong, he'll be able to block, right? But watch. Hold on. It's called a counter. I'm playing the wrong variation, but you can get a punish off of it. A lot of times too, what's happening to me is that like I'm trying to space him, but I'm still getting hit. So sometimes when you can really react to it, you can jump in the air with him, or you can have it where to like, you could do that too, where like you have another button that can low profile a lot of things, like jumping moves that have a lot of active frames on them. You can just whiff punish it like that when you see him jump. So again, essentially this is just spacing your opponent out, and you'll have enough time to react to the whiff punish too, and be able to hit confirm. Not all the time do you have strings that allow you to do this. You can do it with a lot of strings, but you just have to have, you just need to be able to react a lot of times. So basically what I'm doing is I was watching his foot go up in the air and just spacing it where I can punish it. It's a little tough, but you just catch it because he has to recover from that kick he does. So just gotta be on point. It is a lot of times too. What you can do is like when your opponent jumps in, I'll go into another video with it too. But even like from trip guarding can lead to shimmies too, which is kind of crazy. So like he jumps right here, you can go in there and like shimmy him, because a lot of times people like the OS block in this game. So you can catch your opponent like when they jump in with. Most of the time they think you're gonna grab them. So a lot of times you can shimmy them. So like you space them out crazy, come in. I also will like love to show you guys how to use this in game. Like even as a trip guard, like all of these are trip guards that work really well. Like that's a trip guard. That one is too, but it's a little harder because the first hit like kind of like fucks up, because I think it's just really the hurt box or the hit box. But you can still use it, as you can tell. Which is really good. And then you can go into like some swaggy stuff. But yeah. All depends on how you want to play. You can also anti-air with this. It's a little slow, but like you just have to read your opponent a lot of times. So yeah, I don't know if you really can trip guard with 1-2. I think it's kind of hard because the second hit doesn't hit. But yeah, there's plenty of ways where you can trip guard somebody with rating. You also can do it with Sub-Zero too. If you want, I can probably post like how you can whiff punish with the character that you like. You can do it with that string. Most of the time people do it with that string. You can do it with that string as well. But I usually use back one, because even if it doesn't even if it doesn't hit, you can anti-air with it. But yeah, this is probably his best trip guard string. But yeah, I think you also can even do it with back 3 too. Yeah, you can do it with back 3. I feel like you can do it with a lot of strings with this character. I think 1-2 is probably unnecessary, or it's like too hard because they're super close, so you have to be like on point. That one's just too hard to think about because you want to do something like that. You also can't even do the overhead. It's kind of hard, but you can still use it. But yeah, essentially that is just trip guarding, guys. There isn't much to trip guarding except for that. Again, this is just a few things that you should know how to do, especially if you want to try to play the game at the highest level. There's a few things you just want to do, and that's one of the main ones. I think that's about it for this video. I wanted to keep this one simple and short. I didn't want to go too much into details. I just wanted to show you different ways you can punish. Again, if you want to see the character that you like using whatever like trip guard or what string you should use, you can just ask me in the comments below, or I can just make a video specifically for that character as well. I don't mind. But yeah, that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching.